Oh, I want you to show me.
Or not.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Hey. Welcome to the Freitae Effect. I am your co-host, Simon Freitae.
And I am your co-host, Azeb Freitas.
Yes.
So the Freitae Effect, in case this is your first time here or not, is a podcast about two Ethiopian American siblings, aka us. And we're just trying to keep it real as we navigate adulthood and share how things affect our community. So last week our episode was about cults and exploring spirituality and understanding how people find connectedness through this place of community, which is, could be religion or faith or some kind of connectedness to some form of community. And this is part of our 5-part series, the first part of this series being about insecurities. And we explored how when you are insecure or in a vulnerable place with where you are spiritually, what that can mean for you. And this week, we're exploring a whole nother level of insecurity.
Yes.
Simon, you want to get into it?
Sure. This week's episode is called It's Okay to Be Single. And the reason why I'm just going to say the episode name is because I want y'all to know it is okay to be single. So we're really just trying to push that in, that you can love yourself and not be in a committed romantic relationship and still be a stable fucking human being. It's you don't always have to be searching for that immediate companionship to feel fulfilled in your life, and that there's a lot of other things that you can put in your life that will make you happy. At least that's a big part of what I have to say for this episode. And Azib, do you have anything more that you would like to add?
Yeah, so pretty much we're going to explore this topic a little more by touching on some other things, such as reality TV and how relationships are perceived and how they're being shown, and what these expectations are that we're subconsciously absorbing, what's going on in our current life with, not our immediate current life as in me and Simon, but our as a collective as in us, y'all.
The collective consciousness.
Yes, the higher, whatever the fuck.
Words.
I can't speak English today for some reason. I swear, during this whole pandemic, it's been really hard to get vocabulary words again, and I'm just I need to read. But I do read because we gonna talk about the books I've been reading. Anyways, we're gonna talk about love stories. We're gonna talk about love languages. Sorry, I don't know if that was even English. I can't talk today.
It's okay.
But yeah, so Simon, shall we get into how the turns of tables?
How the turns have tabled. So on this week's episode of How the Turns Have Tabled, also if you do not know what How the Turns Have Tabled is, because this is your first time, or maybe you just forget what we do here, it is a plot twist segment. It is a story segment. It is all of the above when the tables be turning in the world. And today, they be turning on my turtles. So,
hey. Turning on my turtles, turning on my turtles, they're turning to spinning on their shells. Oh! Turning on my turtles.
Damn, I wasn't ready for that. So, but it was here. So I may be single, but I accidentally had kids once I got these turtles, and I was not aware of the commitment that I made, which is a big indicator of where we're going with this. So let's just take it back to my life before the turtles. So I've had fish before, a lot of fish. We've killed a lot of fish in my house. And after that, we had a turtle that I really wanted, but we did not know how to take care of. And, we decided the best thing for the turtle was to release him into the wild. Which is illegal, and you should never do it. I found out that, we found out the next year that turtle overpopulated all of the Blue Hills turtle population and made them all red-eared sliders when they were all yellow.
Hey, yo, turtle colonization, baby.
Killing it. R.I.P. Killer. And then in between, then and college, I had a dwarf hamster. I had this fish, Jamie, I had Jamie for all of college, and then she died at the end of my senior year.
Jamie was a queen.
Yeah. And then
she went through a lot. She traveled with you.
Yep. I would take Jamie home, during Thanksgiving breaks, and people on the Amtrak would be like, "Why do you have that fish?" And I'd be like, "It's my spirit animal." And they'd leave me the fuck alone.
Or it's your therapy animal or your best friend?
She was my best friend.
Jimmy. She held a lot of secrets. She saw a lot of shit.
She saw a lot
She went
of
to
shit.
college when she was, like, just born. Like,
always.
Wow, what a prodigy.
Yeah, I got her as a baby, and I thought that she was, like, just an ugly boy beta fish, but really she was just a female, and the females don't have to look as pretty as the males.
Because they got a lot of personality, honey.
And the males be peacocking, and you don't always got a peacock, friends. But anyways... after Jamie died, it was like a real blow, and it just hurt. And I decided I wanted to get something that would live longer than 4 years. So I got a turtle.
Hashtag an investment.
Yes. Invest in yourself and your pets.
And your turtles.
Yeah, a lot of money has gone into these turtles, but we'll get there. So I got Relic, and the reason why he's named Relic is because the first turtle's name was Killer, and I did everything wrong with Killer. So we're going to do the opposite with Relic. And the backwards spelling of Killer is Relic. And after about a month of me having Relic, then my family was saying how lonely he looked. So I decided to go get another turtle, which was another species of, or another breed of turtle. So Relic is an African sideneck, and Monty was a Chinese water pond turtle. Yeah. So they, did not get along, and it was wild, and I was like, oh, well, how long do they live? Like 10 years? Like, do I just gotta deal with this for like 5 or 10 years? Like, you know, it's more than Jamie, and like more than every other pet that I've ever had, and like, that's fine. I'll just deal with this for like a decade. And then it was like, no, Relic's gonna live to be either like 50 to 60, and Monty will live to be like 15 to 20, and I was like, oh, hell no.
I don't want to be a dad now.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I really thought I was
not
just
what
like,
I signed up for.
Friends, like, not kids. So, like, then, like, the expenses were racking up. Like, they needed a bigger tank so that they could have space. And then Monty just was not getting along with Relic. So I was like, fuck you, Monty. You suck. So then I hit up someone on Craigslist, and they were like, I will take the turt. And I was like, take her. And then I felt really bad about how I, like, totally just got rid of my child. So I rushed straight over to PetSmart, and I got another African side-neck turtle, and his name, as you can guess, is Rush, because we really rushed into that decision.
Yep. You didn't even give me a chance to say goodbye.
I did not give anyone any warning.
But, like, literally whatever. That just shows you, like, how much you cared about everybody else who was invested in your turtles' lives and how turtles can make a huge impact on your life. But it's fine. You know, I was just really excited to be an auntie, and, like, you know, it's cool. But, like,
you're
it's cool.
still an auntie, just not to Monty.
We are not friends yet. I haven't connected with Rush yet, but it's fine.
So
like,
Rush,
happen. It's coming.
does not have the same relationship, but he's gonna live just as long as Relic, so we get to build it.
He's friendly too. He's a cool turtle.
Yeah, I like to describe them as like they will live decades, because that just I don't know, it feels Game of Thrones-esque. For decades. But the point of the story, other than all the giant plot twists within my pet owning life, is that, you know, pets can help you with your loneliness, but you should always be aware of the commitment that you're making, because when you start a relationship with this animal, it doesn't end until the animal either dies or gets a new home. So you are
responsible.
Yeah, and
for a whole ass life. Even if it's a pet is an animal.
Like the cleanliness of their habitat. Like imagine if someone just, you know, like if you couldn't clean your own house and there's just poop everywhere. And you're just like, I need no more poop. And then you're just like, nah, swim in it, dude. Like, you know, it's like, no, you need to clean the poop, man. So, like...
That's nasty.
Yeah, and that's what turtles deal with
eating
all
the poop.
the time. Yep. And then I got goldfish. Anyway, so we're moving on.
I mean, would you let your baby eat its own poop? Like, no that's nasty.
Ozma and I have seen babies.
I've seen babies eat their own poop.
Is bad.
When we were babies. Not now, because that's not cool. That's not okay.
People have gotten better parenting
but
styles around us.
For disclaimer, we did not eat our own poop.
Oh, no.
Let's move on.
So, let's take a quick break. Psst. Do you listen to the Freitae Effect podcast?
Who? Me? Why, yes. Yes, I do.
Well, come hither. A bit closer, dearie. Yes. Well, they happen to be celebrating their 1-year anniversary.
Well, are they really? how are they going to do that? Because coronavirus.
Bum, bum, bum! Well, I heard they're actually having a virtual summer spectacular. Shh, shh.
When is this event happening?
Apparently, it's expected to occur on Friday, June 19th at 7:30 on the night of the dark moon.
How peculiar. Well, you've piqued my interest. Where do I go to reserve a spot?
One should find the Eventbrite on their social media accounts to purchase a ticket.
Is there any cost to this summer spectacular?
Yes, I believe it's a minimal fee of $5, and then a WebEx link will mysteriously appear in your email closer to Friday, June 19th.
How intriguing. Do you know of anyone that is going?
Why, yes, of course. I heard from a source that their guests from the first season will be there attending, and not only that, but some might be performing.
Riveting!
There will also be giveaways.
Oh my!
And murder.
Lord heavens, no!
Just poking a bit of fun, old chap.
Oh, goodness.
No murder. But I'm sure it'll be a splendid summer spectacular.
Well, I'm charmed.
Can't wait to see you there.
You as well. Alrighty then, so welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about how pets can be used as a companion for you when you're going through like something, or if you're single and you just need something that is gonna like not make you super lonely.
And think that,
you
less
know?
loneliness.
Yeah.
More stability.
And just like, you know, a feeling of a presence, right? And
Yeah.
some kind of like something to keep you busy.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, that sounds horrible. Because, like, if you're a parent, you shouldn't see your children as something to keep you busy.
Well, you love them. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
like I don't go into a pet store and choose any random pet. Like, it's always that it keeps me busy, but it's like there's that gut reaction that you have when you see them, and you're like, okay, yeah, like you're the one for me, and like there's something you see in them that's like, I don't know, it's reflective in yourself for me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So, speaking of parents, I wanted to get into our main topic by starting off by talking about our parents' love story. So, this is an episode of Love Jones. Just kidding. I have never watched that shit, and I have no idea what I just referenced, so please don't kill me if you actually know what that is.
I don't even know what you said.
We finna find out after we do this research.
Skirt.
All right, anyways, so, once upon a time, I was on a date. Whoa! Azeb went on a date.
my
What?
gosh.
That's crazy. What? I mean, if y'all really know me, I couldn't even say the D word, which is date. So anyways, once upon a time, I went on a date. And we were talking about how our parents met each other. And so I was like, word, I'm going to tell my parents' love story because that's my favorite story in the world to tell. So, y'all are about to get blessed. So basically, if you know my parents, my father grew up in the United States of America. And he's from Brockton, Easton-ish, somewhere outside of Boston, New England. And in high school, you know, after he graduated, he decided, okay, I'm going to just continue the family business and be a painter because that's what the Freitae do, right? That's the family business. But also, he used to be Rastafarian. So he was really interested in, like, Rastafarian religion, and he reached out to an author, Millard Filizardi, who wrote these, like, iconographic books that were about Rastafarianism. One day, Millard calls my father, because my father wrote him a letter being like, yo, man, love this book, love everything about it, would love to learn more and study under you. Millard calls him back in the 80s when you have to call somebody's house, and my Auntie Thais answers the phone. She's like, Scotty, there's this Jamaican guy on the phone for you. Sorry, Auntie Thais, if you're listening. I know you don't sound like that. But I just had to do some kind of New England accent.
Gotta change it up a little bit.
You know, so then my dad's like, okay, coming down right now. So he's like talking, he's like, Ja Rastafari. Yeah, and then he hangs up and he's like, I guess I'm moving to Jamaica. And everyone's like, what? So, you know, we'll throw up those photos of my dad with dreads another time. Or you can go back to episode 15 where we talk about hair.
Big facts.
So anyways, Pops was like, yeah, moving to Jamaica, living with this author who's like writing this book about Rastafarianism, super dope. So Millard also has a connection to Ethiopia with my mother because they're mutual friends. So my mom, on the flip side, is living her best life, chilling in Ethiopia, and then she apparently has some, like, restaurant in Egypt. I'm probably totally telling the story wrong, but, like, whatever, we'll fact check later. Maybe. And so Millard's like, yo, man, to Hoti, my mother, and is like, Hoti. Oh, my God, no. He doesn't have an Jamaican accent. I can't do a Jamaican accent. So he's like, Hohete. Your brother, man, Scotty and I, we want to come over. I'm going to stop. I just can't. I just put it again. So they were like, word, we want to pop over to Egypt, chill with y'all, because apparently there was some political shit that was going on in Ethiopia that wasn't, like, safe for people in the 90s or whatever to pull up. Whatever. I don't know history. Sorry. Excuse me. So whatever. My mom's like, hell yeah, I got you guys. We're gonna like set you up somewhere and we're gonna have a great time, whatever. So Millard and my dad pull up to Egypt and they're chilling with my mom at her restaurant. And, you know, they all become, like, really good friends. And then, like, my mom and my dad are, like, besties for life. Like, not even a romantic connection. Like, whenever I ask her about this, she's like, yeah, you know, honestly, we were, like, best friends first. And I was like, that is so cute! Mind you, my dad's, like, hella young. My mom's, like, you know, ageless because black don't crack. And so dad's like, all right, going back to the States. And mom's like, okay, I'm going to be over here. And then they continue their connection by writing love letters to each other. And my mom in between went to like London for like a minute and my dad was in the US and like they were still like talking. And then in one of those love letters, Pops proposed. He popped the question. Ooh. You feel me? So he popped the question and she's like, all right, whatever. I guess I should do it. And, and so dad flies down to Egypt. Mom and dad get married in Cairo with their best friends. Like, literally, like, nobody from, like, our family was there because they're rebels, so whatever. And then my dad pulls back up to America with my mom, and he's like, yo, guys, check out my wife. And they're like, oh? And our great-grandfather, I just remember this because dad told us, and, like, I wasn't there, obviously. But apparently, if you know what Fort Knox is, it's, like, where they held, like, all the gold that was, like, super fortunate and whatever. He was like, you know what, Scotty? If you're going to go all the way to Africa to get your wife, she better be more beautiful than all the gold and worth it in Fort Knox. And sorry, that was also a horrible impression of Grampy. But that's what I imagine that went down like. So I tell that story, and then he's like, the guy I'm on the date with is like, well, damn, I can't really top that. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of a lot, like a whole international global love story that like kind of went on for a while. And it's like, you know. And he was like, yeah, but, like, my story, at least, is, like, if my dad didn't continue pursuing my mom, I could have been Michael Jordan's kid. And I was like, so your mom was dating Michael Jordan? And he was like, yep. And I was like, all right, well, you know, that's cool that, like, other people have cool love stories, too.
His mom was dating Michael Jordan.
I guess. But, I mean, who's to know if that was actually true?
Ooh. Which Michael Jordan?
But back to the main reason why I brought this up was because I was like, well, I hope I have a cool love story for whoever I end up meeting. And I remember I used to say, like, I'm going to meet the love of my life doing the electric slide at the club when Before I Let Go by Beyonce plays. But you know what? I've grown now. I have higher standards. And, like, that's not going to be the situation. Or maybe it will, and I will not be mad at that. Simon?
Yeah, when I hear that, like, you know, it makes me think that, like, one day you're just going to be, like, sitting somewhere and the electric slide's going to come on. And, like, you know, it's going to, like, all fall into place and it's going to be, like, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend with, like, one indescribable instant. And you're just going to be like, wow. And then what else did you say has to happen? Well, something about the electric slide and all that shit's going to line up and you're going to just be like, this is the time.
Bet.
Yeah.
I'm here for
But also with the story, like, you and I tell the story so similarly, but there's always, like, the subtle nuances of, like, what we focus on.
Oh, what do you focus on when you tell the story?
I can't say exactly what I switch up, but, like, the way that, like, I explain it, like, I never give any insight into, like, who else is involved. It's always just mom, dad, and Millard. And it's just like, he leaves, he comes back, he leaves, she has to leave Ethiopia. He says, I'll come with you, girl.
It's
like, you know,
so
it's
dramatic.
Like...
But it's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
So anyways, so while we were discussing love or whatever, It reminded me of when I was reading this book by Aziz Ansari before he was canceled called Modern Romance. And I just remember reading this one section where he was talking about how back in the day, people used to use newspapers like Tinder, and they would basically, with no pictures, just put descriptions of themselves in hope that somebody would hit them up. And so I asked my grandmother, I was like, hey, Nani, like, is this a real thing? Like, did this happen back in your day? And she was like, yeah, that's true. I remember that happening. People used to do it all the time. And in the book, it basically says, like, in conclusion, because technology has made people so accessible to each other that people are overwhelmed. And because scientifically, when humans are overwhelmed by how many options we have, we end up avoiding making a decision, or we end up not making a decision at all. Or worse, we make a decision and we feel unsatisfied of our decision because we're aware that the next best thing could be a swipe away. Versus back in the day when there were only the options that were relative to you, such as your friend group, where you went to church, your neighborhood, your workplace, if you traveled somewhere. Like, those were honestly the only real ways you could, like, meet other people, or going on a blind date or something, you know, or putting your shit in the newspaper. So I just thought that was really interesting and important to point out in terms of, like, understanding, like, why dating is the way it is now and why more people are probably single now, you know, because we are overwhelmed, you know?
Oh, it's so real. Yeah. I mean, even, like, that makes me think of, like, how I got rid of Monty. Like, you know, it's like, it was on Craigslist. It's like a posting, but there was a photo. But, like, you know, it's someone that's looking in the same sense for that relationship.
Yep.
And you're gonna, like, get something out of it. Like, someone else's, you know, it's like, it's all a risk, but, like, it's all what's accessible to you right there. And, like, there's just, with Craigslist and, like, turtles and shit, there's only so many options. With Tinder, there's a fuckload. Like, you know, it's like with all these other dating options, like, there's just, or dating apps, like, there's just, you are overwhelmed. Like, you might think, okay, I'm super happy right now, but I've been happier. And instead of, like, how could I make this relationship better? How could I work on the way that we communicate? Like, you know, it's like, you just think, okay, there is someone else that gets me more than this person because of this, that, and the other thing, so I'm just going to end it and make everything easy for everyone, when it's just, you know, easy decisions aren't always the best decisions.
Facts.
Yes.
Yeah, and another example he uses is, like, if you live in New York and you want to go get tacos and you know that, like, this taco stand is down the street that's, like, the best taco stand in the world, but it's only available from 3 to 6 while you're working. And then there's this, like, mediocre taco stand that's also really not that bad, and it's actually bomb and it's way more convenient, but you want to go to the other taco stand because it's enticing. Which one are you going to pick? And then you end up picking neither, and you go to McDonald's.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, I see that.
So you never know.
So speaking of, like, choosing the best option for you.
Ooh.
Yes. I was thinking about TV show, dating games, and, like, all that stuff. Like, literally the dating game where people would be like, Bachelor number 1, how would you spend our first date? And then someone's like, oh, obviously I would take you to my mother's house and we would eat cherry pie and then sunbathe on the molasses. And, like, whatever the hell people say.
I would not want to do that, but yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, it's just, like, those, like, superficial relationship kind of shows. And so I decided to get a research article.
Here we go.
It's called, oh my god, what the fuck is it called? It's called Why We Love Reality Dating Shows According to Psychologists. So
oh my god, we are both illiterate.
I'm the worst.
Okay.
So it's an article from Good Housekeeping, which is apparently one of the most trusted magazines in America, according to Google. A really quick Google search because I wanted to know if it was actually trustworthy. And it was written by Dina Cheney, which was, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I hope I said it right. Basically, these were questions. Why do we watch these shows? Why are we addicted? Basically, we're fascinated by love, y'all. Like, we want to know. We are constantly learning shit, and we're like, how the fuck do we do things? And then we're like, let's watch TV about it. Literally, like, that was what the psychologist said in way smarter words and less tone like a person like me. So, like, we're trying to understand love, but we're also trying to understand ourselves. So Dr. Ferris explains within the article, social cognitive theory. It is, we learn by watching others' behaviors and mimicking those that result in successful outcomes.
Okay, pause.
Yes.
We have said this in the past. Now it has a legit definition, and this isn't from the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
So, get hip.
Yeah.
Social cognitive theory. Drop that knowledge. Here
Your big words. Social work words. So this theory, like, it shows how we can see these archetypes in people's love stories and, like, find people that we relate to. And, like, you know, it's in, like, those people are in similar love situations as us. So we're like, oh my God, this is it. How do I make my love life perfect?
True.
But, like, you know, you can't learn everything from a TV show, so always take these things with a grain of salt. Like, you can find the successful parts of what works in a healthy human being relationship from TV. Like, sometimes you can actually do that.
Like, This Is Us!
Yeah!
Yep.
And, like, people actually find inspiration for their own love stories through the hardships that these characters have to endure on these fucking shows. Because, you know, as much as it's fake, just imagine, like, you know, within acting itself, like, there's always some truth to it and, like, some feeling. And, like, this article also goes on to say how, like, we get so attached to these characters that they set off chemical reactions within us that, like, we're kind of empathy, like, you know, we feel that relationship with them. So when they're heartbroken, we feel the heartbreak. When they're like,
that's true.
Yeah, and like when they're cuddling with someone, we might have that oxytocin release. Like, you know, it's like you feel the love within, even though it might be fake, like it's real to you because the feelings are yours.
We're all just part of the simulation.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it's like, you know, it's interesting that like a fake show can have like real shit and like help you with your real ass relationship, which you might not know how to deal with, but the show might help. Although with this, there are no repercussions from doing things wrong when you see these people on the shows doing things wrong. There are repercussions when you do things wrong in your real life, which is why people get so addicted to these shows instead of going out and trying to find love themselves.
Yep.
Because they're so afraid of getting hurt. And that's just a human thing where you just find yourself so absorbed in fear that you don't want to move forward. And it sucks. And, you know, like, you get to enjoy all these dramatic motions that other people go through. And, like, there are good parts of it, like there's bad parts of it, but at the end of the day, it's really just like you trying to learn things, as well as the fact that these shows turn people on. So it turns you on in a, like, you know, a sexually attractive way. It turns you on in, as I mentioned before, like a romantic attraction way. Like the attachment that you have to these characters, it like engages you in like ways that like other people don't get to really do that because you don't have everyone in your life romantically flirting with you. Like, you know, you watch these people interact and like flirting and then cuddling and kissing and stuff,
so
and it's
you
just
feel like you're engaged.
Yeah.
And also sex sells, y'all.
Yep.
It all goes back to capitalism.
And honestly, who would blame you? Like, there's supermodel looking women on these fucking shows and chiseled Adonises on The Bachelor, like Love is Blind, like, oh my God. Like, how can you, like, no. Like, everyone watches these shows. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Or if you don't watch these shows, you know, there's no guilt in watching these shows.
I mean, I never watch these shows, like, ever. Like, literally ever. I choose to actively avoid watching these shows because I just don't have time. And also because, like, I don't care because I know it's fake. But, I mean, I did choose to watch Love is Blind because I thought it was interesting. You know what I mean?
So if you do not know what Love is Blind is, it was a show that was like an experiment of seeing whether or not love is actually blind. And long story short, it worked out with some people and didn't work out with others. So it seems like love. But like a big thing that I took away from this article especially was how if you get to know someone on a superficial level, like making an extreme decision on how you're spending your life based on this superficial idea, it's just, you know, it doesn't seem sustainable to support your emotional needs, especially when it's not, especially when it's connected to your, you know, your love life, your committed relationship. Like, it's just, you have to be able to be true to yourself and like find those answers within you. Like you can find methods and processes to lead you to these answers for your own love life, but you know, it's reality TV, it's not reality. So you have to be able to find that boundary.
Yeah, another show that I started watching was Too Hot to Handle, and I'm telling you guys, I would literally never watch these shows, but because like I have time, I'm watching them. So Too Hot to Handle was a show that has a bunch of people who are super conveniently attractive, but they're not allowed to do anything physical with each other, so they can't have sex, they can't kiss, they can only cuddle, and they can only kiss when the green light goes on, when they get the okay. Because the point of the show is for them to like actually get to know each other, and they talk about, and it just shows you like how when you have a physical interaction with someone, how like the meaning and impact behind that, whether or not you think that there's meaning or impact behind that. Because once you already get to that, you know, it's very clear. Like even like growing up, they tell you like, oh, if you have sex, like that everything that's special about what's going on ruins it. And then it makes sex sound like a bad thing. So we'll come back to this in another season with another episode. But just talking about like this, like this level of like the importance of physical touch.
Yep.
You know? And so like the other day I was having a conversation with my friend David, and we were talking about like the importance of being able to meet people in person versus meeting people online.
Yeah.
And just like how, I don't know, like us too as people, like we're very personable people, like our impressions come off better when we're in person, like we can showcase our personality better because it's not all about like how you look, you know what I mean? Like as shocking guys, when you guys get older, people actually care if you have a personality because there's plenty of pretty people that are boring as fuck. Sorry, I had to say it.
It's true.
You know?
Or they're just, you know, they don't want to share their personality with you, and it's like, why would I want to enter something deep and emotional if you don't want to share it?
Or even something simple to just, like, get to know each other in general. It's like, what is there to share about you if there's nothing? Like, yeah, anyways. So we're talking about that, and then we were talking about, like, dating during coronavirus and how, like, you know, what does that even look like? Because we're in our 20s, we're obviously thinking about what that like looks like for us, right? So we're kind of like, all right, so basically dating's canceled. But it's like, what if, like, what are people doing? Like, are people going on a Zoom date and then deciding, hey, let's go for a walk, and then saying, all right, I'm willing to risk it all for a physical interaction with you? You know what I mean? It's like you're not gonna kiss wearing a mask. So it's like, at what point do you decide, okay, this is going to go to the next level? And it's like that physical interaction is something that goes to the next level.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. And like, you know, during the pandemic, you're not seeing people outside doing coupley things. You're like, ideas of romance are really coming from these TV shows and, you know, social media. But like, also like, the people that you're surrounded by. And like, I've seen in college a shit ton of PDA where people are just all like, what's that word together? When there's just so conglomerated together. Or
there it is.
That's the word.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I say 2 words are back. But like, you know, it's just there's so many people all conglomerated into one place. And so it's just, if you're dating, then you have to show it off for some reason or whatever. And it's just, I never understood PDA. I can understand small public displays of affection, but like, yeah, like it's.
Yeah, and I feel like now more than ever, like PDA is a huge thing, especially because we can't see each other. So people are like, post me online or you don't love me. You know, and I'm just like, what? Like, what happened to privacy and minding your own business and like whatever? But I mean, hey, you know, whatever works for you works for you. Yeah. If that's your love language, which we'll get into later. But I do want to mention that there was a guy who tried to make an attempt to do the whole dating during the Rona thing. And it was like a story on TikTok of this guy who was like living in Brooklyn, and he like saw this cute girl dancing on her rooftop across the street. And so he sent a drone over and was like, hey, yo, sis, I think you're cute. Let's have a Zoom date. And she was like, bet. And so they had a Zoom date, and he was like updating us on it. Cause I was like, wow, like somebody's actually doing this. And like, also you're like letting us into your life. Like, damn, bro. Like the whole world is watching. It was like real life reality TV. It was weird. But also I'm still curious on what happened because I want to know what's possible for me. It's like, is she gonna come over? Are you guys gonna sit 6 feet apart from each other? Like, what now? You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Wait, we don't know?
I haven't followed up. I mean, we have the link included, so if y'all want to do the research and follow up with us, let us know. But yeah, personally for me with PDA, this also comes back to like what you're exposed to growing up. Like, our parents, they would like kiss each other like just a peck or whatever, or like, you know, sit next to each other and like hold each other or like hold hands in public, and like, you know, that's cute, right? Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen, like, parents, like, straight up making out in front of each other, like, the way that I do on TV. And I'm like, maybe that happens in other households, but, like, I haven't really seen that, you know?
That happens in other households, as I have seen this.
Okay.
Yes.
But, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's why TV exists, so that we know what happens in other households. If you don't have friends. Yeah. But I have friends, I swear.
Have friends. I definitely have friends.
But, I mean, I think it's, like, it's funny, like, even when, I just can't tell, like, if it's a cultural thing, like, if it's a Habesha thing, or not. Because even on, like, you know, Habesha social media, I see people talking, like, yeah, my dad you'll never see your mom and dad kiss ever, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, like, it's kind of funny because it's low-key true, because, like, every time that me and mom and dad are taking pictures, and I take pictures of them because I'm obsessed with them, I'll be like, all right, go in for the kiss. And then my mom will be like, no! And she'll, like, back up. And my dad will, like, go in. And she's, like, actively pushing him away. But then eventually kisses him. And it's really cute. And I'm just like, damn, like, that's mad funny. Because I'm like, does his breast stink or something? But then I'm like, nah, I totally feel you, bro. Like, if you don't want people seeing you kiss your man, like, that's on you. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, my thing is, like, I'm totally fine with some levels of PDA. Like, what you mentioned with, like, kissing and holding hands and, like, even cuddling, and, you know, it's like, that's fine by me. But if you're, like, actively making out and shit like that, that's when it draws. Yeah,
if you're, like getting
it gets close to sex.
I'm like,
that's
just
gross,
way
man.
Too much.
And even you know, me and my friends are or some of my friends have gotten, like, really comfortable with me. So, like, I used to be in class in high school, like, playing with my friend Brett's hair, and teachers would be like, are you guys okay? Like, what's going on over there? And it's just like, we're just friends. Like, you know, it's like, this is just, what the fuck? Like, he likes me to play with his hair. That's it. Like, this is like, nothing deeper
platonic,
than that.
It's not that serious. Get your head out of the gutter, you disgusting.
Yeah, or like, you know, like friend cuddle puddles or stuff like that. You know, it's just like, I don't know. If you're comfortable with your own self and your body, then it's like, why does it matter if other people, you know, like, it's other people's perception of your, you know, your love. And it's.
But also, like, maybe that person's love language is physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
So shall we go there?
Let's get there.
Okay, cool. So we're going to actually include the love languages quiz in the description. So if you guys want to take it and you don't know what your love language is, you can figure it out. So the 5 love languages are receiving gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, and acts of service. And Simon and I literally just took the quiz. And so... Simon, do you want to go first and share your results?
Sure. So my biggest, or it says, your primary love language is acts of service. Okay, so it says, can helping someone with homework really be an expression of love? Absolutely! Anything you do to ease the burden of responsibilities weighing on an acts of service person will speak volumes. The words he or she most wants to hear, let me do that for you. Laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them tell speakers of this love language, there it is, their feelings don't matter. So, when others serve you out of love and not obligation, I feel truly loved and valued.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then what were, like, your other... Was there anything from this that you thought was surprising?
I was surprised that there was so many questions about gifts because I can understand where there would be... You know, like, that's a way to show your love. Yeah. Especially since Mother's Day is, you know, something that we recently experienced while recording this episode. And we went out and got gifts to help support making our mother feel better for that day.
But it's just like, also assuming that all mothers' love languages are receiving gifts.
Yeah.
You know? And
so, like, it's interesting. My second highest thing was physical touch, which makes a lot of sense for me. That's what I thought was gonna be the highest. But it does make sense that acts of service is, you know, what I would want, because that's kind of what I do a lot. Like, you know, it's like I really try to just ease the burden for other people a lot. And yeah, so it makes sense why that would be what I want from others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny because the way that you phrase that now makes me think that, like, not only do I, like, so mine was quality time was my main love language. But when you phrase it like that, I was thinking about it as like, oh, okay, like this is what I expect other people to give to me for love. You know, like I see love as like, if you're not making time for me, then like you obviously don't give a shit about me. But I didn't think a bit of like, I always give my time to people and that's how I'm showing love. That's how I want love to be reciprocated to me. I didn't think about it like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So mine was quality time, and it says, in quality time, nothing says I love you like full undivided attention. Being there for this type of person is critical, but really being there with the TV off, fork and knife down, and all the chores and tasks on standby makes you feel truly special and loved. Distractions, postponed activities, or the failure to listen can be especially hurtful. Whether it's spending uninterrupted time talking with someone else or doing activities together, you deepen your connection with others through sharing time. And then my second highest was physical touch, and I just thought that was funny because we just talked about how I don't really like PDA, so like how is physical touch my second highest? But I wasn't surprised that receiving gifts was the lowest one on mine. And it was the lowest one on yours too, right?
Yep. Receiving gifts was 3% for me, and then like physical touch, quality time, and acts of service were pretty high, or like, you know, significantly higher. Yeah, I really liked the question in the quality time section, which I now understand was in the quality time section.
Oh, yeah.
That was about, like, not being interrupted, because if you are a part of my family, you know how much I fucking hate being interrupted.
And, I mean, obviously, that's why it's your second one.
Yeah.
You know. All right, so let's take another break, and we'll be RB.
Bruh. Dad jokes, notes and quotes. Dad jokes, notes and quotes. Dad jokes, notes and quotes. By Scott Freitae.
Okay. A lady comes up to a Jewish guy in a bar and says, I can give you super sex. And he said, I'll take the soup. Should I keep going?
Yep.
So the same Jewish guy was in another bar, and a lady came up to him and said, I'll do anything for $200. And he said, paint my house. A guy's in a bar, and he goes up to a lady and he says, I'll give you $200 if you let me feel your boobs. And she says, all right. So he starts squeezing her boobs, and he goes, I don't know. And she goes, you don't know what? And he said, I don't know where I'm going to get $200.
Alrighty, bro. So, we are back with our keys to be taken away.
Take the keys.
Go take them away.
Take these keys.
Alrighty.
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah, we did it. We didn't even plan that, guys.
We're in sync. We're officially morphing into one person. When we sit next to each other for too long, it's a wrap.
It happens.
Anyways.
So today, I'd say my first key takeaway is ringing back to the pet companions. You know, they're amazing, and it's a great way to feel less alone when you're single, especially when you're moving to a new place, like going to college or, you know, just any kind of place where you would want someone waiting for you when you get home. And it's so nice to have something that you love and that you could pour your love into when you don't have a partner, because that little turtle can be your partner for like 50 years. Just always be aware of the effort that you need to put into giving your buddy the best life that they can have with you. And then I guess the other key takeaway that I want to throw down y'all's throats is that it's not an issue to watch shows about love. As long as you're not dictating your life to completely mimic the shows that you're watching on TV, then you're gonna be fine. Like, I honestly don't really watch a lot of TV shows that I don't feel, you know, excuse me. I don't watch a lot of TV shows that I feel are fake. I hate reality TV, like Jersey Shore kind of shit. Like, it's just not my forte. But I really was drawn in to Love is Blind. Like, you know, the experiment aspect of it, and the way that, like, you know, there's a scientist on it that really went in, like, skeptical and, like, had his own method to it, and he came out saying, like, oh, I'm in love. And it's like, I don't know. It's like it's those people that you can resonate with, and those things that you can still learn from these fake relationships. It's not Don't put anything down just because you think it's stupid. You can always learn things. You're always learning, guys. The subtle nuances of your reality will make your relationships unique. So you can take these points away from these shows, like how we take these keys.
Yes, baby.
Just stay true to yourself, y'all. What's your keys that you taking?
All right. When I have my little keys that I'm jangling, I want you to imagine those little mail keys that are really hard and annoying to like try to open your mailbox. So the first tiny little key is take the time to learn your love language and to learn someone else's love language and the people that you love around you, because it doesn't have to be about romantic love when you're taking this quiz or when you're trying to learn more about how you love or how you receive love. It can be about platonic relationships. It can be about any relationship in your life. And that's the other beautiful thing about being single, is that you realize, like, okay, like I have a whole community that I can be connected to and invested in, like your family or your friends or whatever sources of community you find.
Called.
That you don't.
Sorry.
Referring back to episode 1. But like what I'm saying is that like you don't have to define yourself by being in a relationship. You know, like look within.
Yep.
So that takes my second key, which is a much larger key, which is like, you know, when the mayor is giving the key to the city to somebody, and then they have to cut with a giant scissors.
Yes.
So those giant scissors is the size of this key.
Whoa.
Okay, ready?
Shit.
So, I mean, from what I've learned from the show Insecure, written by Issa Rae, my favorite human being on the planet, who's basically the LeBron James of film and acting in the industry right now. Just saying. Hope she hears this. Love you, sis. What I've learned from the conversation between Lawrence and his dad, another main character on that show, was how they were talking about how any relationship that you're in is going to take work from both people. So before you enter a relationship, you should be aware if you're not in a place to be loving for someone else. If you can't love someone else, then it's very clear that you don't know how to love yourself, and you need to learn how to love yourself. And I'm sorry that like this is turning into a whole love yourself, blah, 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 self-care. But I'm just being real with y'all. Nobody wants to be with someone who's constantly projecting their trauma on each other, because like y'all obviously need to do some self-reflection on what worked and what didn't work in your prior relationships, and that you're carrying into your current relationships. So that could be talking that out with a close friend. That could be journaling and writing it out. You could attend therapy, like whatever your thing is to like get some reflection and like understand what are you doing that's not working for you, then do that. So do the work on yourself. So when the next person that comes into your life hopefully matches your energy, inspires you to be the best version of you, and you inspire them to be a better version of themselves. Or you can choose to be better for you.
Yes.
It is not selfish to have boundaries in a relationship, because literally at the end of the day, you got you, for real. So start treating yourself the way you would treat your significant other. Pour the love you would easily give to someone else to yourself, because you deserve to feel what it feels like to be loved by you.
Yes.
Accept it, absorb it, and then emulate it from your heart like it's glowing like a light, coming out of your chest like a Care Bear, and share that shit around the world. You know why? Because we really, really, really all need that love right now. So go find that pure love within yourself and share that. And that's why it is completely fine to be single. Simon, do you have any announcements?
That was such a big key.
Thank you. That was a massive key.
That was the key to my heart.
Aww.
It's so open right now.
Yay.
I have no announcements. Like, wow, I think I'm gonna cry. Like,
yay, tears.
oh.
Crying on the show.
Oh.
All right. If y'all are crying, you know, like send us your selfies of you crying
with the sticker.
yeah. So I don't have any announcements. My biggest announcement is just like, you know, stay cute, stay single if you need to, love yourself, and love others, and be loved. Period.
Yeah. I guess I have an announcement. It would be like from, you know, like I have this tattoo that says we accept the love we think we deserve. And, you know, it really stems from, if you don't love yourself and if you don't know what you think you deserve, then you're going to just accept anything that looks like love. So really, it's just that you have to define that for yourself before you go looking for another person. So that's what I would announce to the world.
All right, you ready to do the sign out?
I'm signing out.
Okay. Be sure to like the episode
Share with friends.
and follow us on social media.
Subscribe and
Comment on SoundCloud,
follow on Spotify
Apple Podcasts.
or wherever you stream us.
Email us.
Or comment on social media.
Leave a review with any feedback, affirmations, or topics.
You want to hear on the show at
The Freitae Effect. gmail.com.
Thank
You
for
listening.
and
Have
a
great
last
uh,
your
week. Bye.